Hi guys, and welcome to another Sky High Simulations tutorial video. Today we're going to do a very simple video on taxiing, taking off, doing a quick circuit and landing again. I do plan on doing a video in the future that's going to go into more specific details of patterns and ways to approach an airfield, but for this video we're going to keep it real simple. We're just going to fly by the seat of our pants and hopefully we're going to learn a few bits. So our aircraft's already here. One thing I am going to do quickly is turn off my RWR because don't need it on. We're doing patterns, and I'm going to turn off our countermeasure system. And we'll have a little taxi out to the runway. So slowly bringing the throttle forward. You can hear the power's in. The parking brake's on at the moment, so that's why the aircraft isn't moving. So if we take a look down here, the parking brake switch is on. You can either click it off yourself, or you can just advance the throttles ever so gently a bit more, and you'll see it'll brake it. Nose wheel steering needs to be on, using your missile switch nose wheel steering button. You can find that in options. And we'll gently steer our aircraft onto the taxi line. This yellow line here, these are taxi lines where you should always have your aircraft when taxiing at an airfield, unless you're reckless and don't give a shit, which is fine. No need to taxi at any speed, just a nice gentle taxi will get us to the runway, ensuring that we don't dip our wings or make the aircraft unstable. And as you approach the runway, you always want to bring the aircraft to a stop, hold short. And what we're going to do now, you got it, we're going to look left, right. See that nothing's on the approach, it's all clear. Look to the left, nothing at the other end, we're all clear to enter the runway. Not going to go through any ATC procedures here. This is just a simple video doing simple things. So we taxi out onto the airfield, onto the runway. Line our aircraft up along the centre line. And bring it to a complete stop, holding our brakes for this period. With my setup, I'm using rudder pedals, and I find that I cannot take off using nose wheel steering. I've got friends that say they do, but they're not necessarily using pedals, they're using a twist stick, so it's completely up to you. If you feel your aircraft's stable enough to take off with nose wheel steering on, then leave it on. It doesn't really matter. I had to turn it off because my aircraft, if I touch my rudder pedals, it will go like whoosh off to the side, and that's it, me done. I'm in a ball of flames. So I turn it off, still holding the brakes. We're going to slowly bring the power up to full mil power. Hear the engine spooling up, and then as it starts to creep, release the brakes and full afterburner, and away we go. Now I'm using once the airspeed gets up, my rudder kicks in there. I'm able to keep the aircraft nice and straight. Watching our airspeed, we're at 150 knots. Want a light load so we can start to pull back now on the stick. 230 knots and we're off the ground, and let's gear up. Bring her out of afterburner detent just to mil power. Full mil power or somewhere up there, it doesn't really matter. Whatever your aircraft needs to get off the ground. Nice gentle climb out. Airspeed's coming up and we're approaching 1,000 feet. So we get up to about 2,000 feet and we're going to make a right turn. Gently turning to the right. Keeping our nose slightly up through the turn. Our airspeed's nice and stable. And as we roll out of the turn, we're going to reduce our airspeed a little bit to keep the aircraft at a nice speed. slowly starting to roll out as we come round onto what we call the downwind leg, where we're flying against the way that we would be landing. That looks quite good there, so we'll slowly bring our throttle back, level out a little bit, bring the aircraft into a nice stable flight. We're glancing out, see the airfield, we're passing midfield, so continue to slow the aircraft down. I'm going to throttle down. I'm going to bring us into a slight descent. Again, looking around, passing the end of the runway now. So another 10-15 seconds and we'll start banking back round, reducing our airspeed as much as we can. Want to keep around, I'd say bring it down to like 300 knots. And then as you start coming down towards 250 knots, it's when you can bring your gear down. And in this aircraft we're going to have automatic flaps and everything, so it's all going to be good. Now we'll bring the aircraft round into another bank, this time slightly dipping the nose, watching our altitude slowly drop. Again, I normally fly in VR, so this is quite challenging using a HUD switch again for the first time in a long time. A hat switch even. You can see the airfield there's coming round. We'll just bring around a little bit tighter so I can feel where we're needing a few slight pulls on the stick, putting a couple of G's there. Altitude. And I see our airspeed's coming down 290 knots. Roll back in a little bit of power as we line up here. We can bring our gear down at this point. Gear's coming down and we can let off the gas a little bit now, as our flaps are going to start to kick in. Now we want to keep descending ever so slightly and start lining ourselves up with the runway. Watching our speed, we're at 250 knots now, so we're going to sort of hover around 250 for a little while we correct our aircraft. 240 knots, 700 feet, radar altimeter is showing 650, 600. Nicely lined now. So using our indicator in the middle of the HUD there, the circle with the line coming out the top and the sides, and put that just on the end of the runway there, like I just got it there. Maybe even a little further forward won't hurt. Watching our airspeed still, 215 knots, bringing her back. Now the trick to this is try and fly the airplane down the runway, off the power now. I'm going to let the aircraft just touch down itself. There we go. Beautiful. Not touching any controls. Going to bring in the speed brake now and hitting the brakes on the brake pedal. And we're going to bring the aircraft to a stop. So as you saw there, the trick to landing is don't try and plant the aircraft on the runway. The trick is to let the aircraft drop ever so gently onto the runway. What you have to do effectively is fly straight and level, as low to the ground as you can, say 10 feet, 20 feet, it doesn't really matter, as long as it's not too high that you're going to drop and plonk and bounce and everything. So 10, 20 feet off the runway, just fly straight and level, reduce your power as soon as you cross the threshold, and let the aircraft, let the drag, let nature do its business, and bring your aircraft to a nice gentle touchdown, as we just did there. And then that's it pretty much for this tutorial, folks. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned some things. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Cheers.